domino chain. It all starts with Iran. That affects the price of oil. Price of oil can lead to inflation. That inflation leads to tighter capital environments, which then creates sell pressure in the debt market, which then creates higher yields. All debt products are priced off of 10 and 30-year actual yields on treasuries. Okay. So that increases the debt costs. And it all comes back to AI capex, which is basically what is keeping the markets up right now. It is just the AI craze in the AI trade. Every professional manager is in the AI trade one way or the other. What we're talking about is how are all these things related? Because if the Iran war continues, all of this remains true. And that's where it gets scary. And this exact domino chain is something I was talking about in February of this year. The Iran conflict I called in 2025, put my money where my mouth is, right? Invested in oil personally, not in my fund, just personally I did. And it was a big bet and it is paying off significantly because of this. And this trend is continuing. It is growing. It is accelerating. It is not slowing down. And that's why I'm covering it. Before we get into all of the contents here, I wanted to show you this site. I think it's great, minus all the ads, okay? But you can actually see where the Strait of Hormuz is and all of the ships that are blocked. Okay, red or military, everything else would be different products. So this is the actual Strait of Hormuz. Traffic is down 99%. Everyone is trapped right here. And this is real, like live feeds, right? And then you also have this thing, and this is an honorable mention. This straight right here, I'm starting to see it in headlines. I talked about it again back in February. The Houthis, which is an Iran funded terrorist group, run Yemen for the most part. Okay. And they will be, I believe, attacking this as well. These two straits are responsible for an insane amount of commerce and trade. Almost 35% of all world products. That's from the raw earth metals that go into your chips to rubber to oil, petroleum products, liquid natural gas, all this stuff. So this is a massive inflationary pressure if the supply is disrupted, which we're already seeing with the Strait of Hormuz, right? That has caused a lot of inflationary pressure, which is the evidence supporting this thesis. At first, it was a shot in the dark, something I said it's possible. And as the months have went on and as I've done this series continuously, it's just becoming more true and it scares me. I hope I'm wrong and I hope this thesis gets broken at some point. But right now, it's important we understand what's happening. And since I am an actual creator with an actual hedge fund that is filed with the SEC, I have to put this on the screen. This is not financial advice, not even close to it. I will never give financial advice. That is not why I'm making these videos. I make these videos to educate you all and make you better players in the crypto space. Okay, I want you to get educated on what the fundamentals are. So much so that I launched an academy where all we talk about is crypto fundamentals. I talk about blockchains, understanding them. That way, you know how to actually underwrite them, like I do at my fund. I'm giving you everything in this course. You're going to want to subscribe to make sure you know when it drops, because the first 10 members are getting in for free. So you're not going to want to miss that. This is the domino chain. This is just like one by one. This is how it's going to go. I'm going to walk you through it. So the very first one is the Iran war. February 28th, literally 20% of the global oil and LNG trade. LNG is liquid natural gas. Liquid natural gas. It stopped, a fifth of it. So you could expect at least a 20% increase in the prices of oil and LNG. Just default, not including, debt, levered products, people that are doing shorts and longs, just derivatives, futures markets. That's all going to be way more dramatic. We saw a 40% increase instead of 20, but you can see the correlation, right? Supply and demand. It's simple economics in that sense. This war is not slowing down, it's only accelerating. The ceasefires, I don't know how many we've had, how many negotiations we're going to have, but as long as it's unresolved, we're going to have this problem. And we're bombing them again. Like Iran said they're not even going to talk to Pakistan anymore, and they're in full-fledged war. So the strait remains closed. This pressure is very real. All of this ties back to this. So if this stops, I feel that everything else we're about to cover can cool off, and I will stop being an alarmist. But we need this to end, like, as soon as possible. Oil's responding exactly as you would expect. So the second link is oil prices spike. Then you have inflation. Inflation will show up in PPI, CPI, and PCE. If we were to go look further back, this is just month to month, you can see the oil price is going down, how it affected it. And these numbers were in the twos before oil went up. They are directly correlated. Oil prices stay high because of the Iran war, then inflation increases, and not just for America, but for every single country. Specifically, the people that get the most pressure are the people that were most dependent on GCC oil coming out of these two straits, which is everyone south of that. So almost all of Asia. It's not a coincidence that there is a massive amount of green oil ships going to Asia. People are worried. We're going to get into that. But that is the most inflationary pressures in Asia right now. Not China specifically, but everything else, right? Southeast Asia. We got to pay attention to that. 15.7% year over year, even as headline CPI cooled. So, I mean, oil's still pretty high up. Okay. Now, what happens when inflation hits your country? Central banks, right, want the economy to cool down. So they raise interest rates. They hike interest rates to try to stop inflation. We do that here, right? You've probably noticed that. So what happens? Well, Trump ran on cuts, 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 cuts. He's been begging for cuts since he got into office. He then gets Warsh in there, which is a classic hawk. I mean, he's been a hawk most of his career. You have the Fed not do anything with the rates. They are worried. Okay. Look at the turn of events just on their internal meetings here. Half of them believe there's a hike this year. When I said there's going to be a hike in 2026, people thought I was crazy. Half of them are waking up to this now. And then 17 of 18 see inflation risk tilted to the upside, meaning they are worried about inflation. They are likely going to get a hike this year because of the first three links being true. So with inflation being correlated to oil, oil's back on the rise because the war is back on full-fledged. You have then the Fed considering raising interest rates to stay in front of the inflation. When they do that, debt gets more expensive, which is really important. Full circle to AI, which we'll get to. When you have that kind of inflation, I told you Asia's getting hit the hardest. Look at the Bank of Japan. And Japan is really important. I talk about it a lot because they are the largest foreign holder of our debt. They have 1.18 trillion, down over 100 and something billion in the last, I think, 2 years. So they're selling their debt because of these capital conditions, and they're increasing their rate. Look at the last time that had happened. They normally had a negative interest rate or a zero interest rate. Every time they've raised it, we have poor economic times trailing 6 to 12 months. Main reason is they own the most 10-year treasuries. Those treasuries are what price mortgages. When the 10-year treasuries get sold, the yields have to go up, which we're about to talk about. Okay. When the yields go up, mortgages will go up. And then people will get priced out of the market, including the inflation increasing housing prices. You now have a mortgage getting higher because interest rates are getting higher because the yields are getting higher. Japan is at a 30-year high on their 10-year. This is the highest been in 30 years since the internet crash. So then they start selling their treasury holdings, just like I talked about. So their interest rate or their yields, I'm sorry, get almost at 3%, highest it's been in 30 years. And then they have to sell our debt to cover their capital conditions that we talked about here with the inflation. So every country in Asia is dealing with this, and the US is dealing with it because we import a lot of stuff. So then Japan wants to start repairing its currency, starts buying its own debt, drops our debt. That's why they do it. So they're going to keep doing that. When you have debt hitting the market at a clip like that, what bankers have to do, they have to increase the yield because you need another buyer to step in after that seller. So the debt has to be more enticing. So it has to pay more Be like, hey, I don't trust your capital conditions right now. So your debt is not worth what you're willing to pay at 4%. I want 5%. I want this, that. The market will determine what it is. Either way, it's up, it's higher. And this is literally that happening in real time. This stuff was down in the threes and twos not more than a couple years back. So it's continuing to increase because of that sell pressure. Okay, because of everything else we've talked about in this video and all the other videos in this channel. Again, you got to subscribe. I'm covering all this for you. You don't have to think about it. We have went from green, meaning I'm a crazy guy, I get it, maybe I'll just be on my own little island, to like yellow now, where it's like, hey guys, maybe I'm not as crazy as I think. We're going yellow to orange right now, but this isn't red. I'm not saying the markets want to crash tomorrow, but this trend, if it continues, in my opinion, we have really big problems like AI. AI is a really big problem because 40% of America's GDP is AI capex. AI capex that is funded not by cash, but by debt. They are taking loans out against their assets, or they're taking loans against their cash they hold in foreign banks, which is a thing. Either way, they're taking loans. These loans typically are variable and they could go out from 2 to 12 years. Their debt is getting more and more expensive. We just talked about that. And there's about to be a rate hike. So if this capex has not budgeted for a doubling of the cost of capital, you're budgeting for 5 and now it's at, well, it wouldn't be a double, but let's say it's at 8 now. 8 on 100 billion versus 5 is a dramatic difference in terms of what you're paying to get that 100 billion. And you also have the cost increasing for construction, for energy in general, which AI needs to run. You also have an increased cost in the logistics of getting it there. I mean, literally everything is getting inflated and everything uses oil. It takes oil to get it there. It takes oil to drive it across the country to the site. It takes oil to use the machines to stand it up. All of the adhesives that you use in the construction process, petroleum based. You start thinking about it, like everything is oil and it's all going up. So if you have the cost of capital increasing alongside your cost of delivering your projects that this capex is going to, if you haven't budgeted for that kind of margin, you're in a really scary place. Just like in the internet, we over invested way too early. The market priced in 10 years of growth in 2 years, and no one was wrong except on the timing. And what happens? You have a surprise hike, a hike no one anticipated, all because of everything we've just talked about. That's how we go full circle into AI. And again, not saying this is going to happen, but it could. And all of the other things we just talked about need to remain true and they need to keep accelerating in their current trajectory. If all of that is true, this could happen. Now, I look at the counter argument to everything I research. There is a policy driven fund out of Japan that could offset the sell pressure of this debt. That might be something they do strategically, especially since all these countries don't want the world to go into a massive depression, right? Because every country is going to deal with this that is impacted by the strait. And it just turns out that every country is impacted by the strait. So, I mean, this genuinely is scary. And being the largest seller, potential seller, it's really relevant that there is this fund here that could add buy pressure to keep the markets balanced or to slow or stall the chain, right? Specifically, Link 7, talking about Japan's selling pressure on the debt. So they could be doing this. I don't know if they will, but that is a potential counter argument that has some legs, in my opinion. Also, if the Iran war stops, we all agree it's good. The strait's open. After about 4 months, I do believe this thesis is gone. It takes 4 months for those ships to get home. But also, it's been closed for 5 months too. You also have got to think, like, if Asia's hurting that bad, they've already missed 2 orders. They'd be down 3 orders. All their reserves are going to be depleted, energy crises. I still think Asia's in real trouble regardless. But the rest of the world has a little bit more insulation. Either way, this thesis can be turned around if that is resolved. Okay. And another honorable mention, if mortgages go up and there's less buyers in the market and all that stuff, I could also see a further correction in the housing market. Because right now, the median home price is down significantly. 420, 442 all the way down to 410. And '08 back here was 257 down to 214. That's a 16% drop. This is roughly a 8% drop. We're halfway to '08 already, and the BOJ's interest rate is higher right now than it was back then. There's a 50-year unbroken correlation between the Bank of Japan's interest rate and our housing market. Go look at the interest rates on the Bank of Japan and all these gray bars. It'll blow your mind. Gray bars are, recessions or downturns in this chart here. 100% houses are affected. The housing market is affected. The housing market's all dead. It's all affected by this as well. These are the things I'll be watching. These are the things that I'll be reporting on here on this channel. You're going to want to subscribe, I'm telling you. This is like generational kind of important information, right? If I'm correct, and I continue to be right. These three things we're looking for. And honestly, it could happen in any order, but the most significant is number one. For Treasury holdings stabilizing, that absolutely can help with the GPIF. But if they have to keep increasing their rates, they keep getting hammered by inflation, and the Hormuz Strait and the Al Mabab Strait are closed, the whole world's going to suffer, especially Asia. This is what I do in my fund, this kind of research. This is my bread and butter. This is how I guide my investors' capital through the markets. And this is exactly what I'm looking at. There's no one else out here with their chips on the table and also sharing the fruits of their labor and these conversations they have with professionals. I'm putting it all out here for you guys to make you better. That domino chain is going to be tracked, and I'm going to put videos out on it on this channel as it develops. Keep an eye out on the Bank of Japan's interest rate, okay? And keep an eye out on US mortgages and the price of oil. Those three things are basically the daily or weekly check-ins that you can do to see if this is holding. But so far, it's only gotten worse. We'll be covering it here on this channel. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, take care of one another. Cheers.